Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is the newest Ghostbusters movie. The fourth film in the Ghostbusters franchise that it completely ignores the reboot that came out in 2016 and is a sequel to Ghostbusters 1 and 2. And Ghostbusters as a franchise, I'm going to say real quick before I actually talk about this movie. I have seen the other three Ghostbusters movies. I watched 1 and 2 as a kid. I have not honestly seen them since then, so I really barely remember the original two Ghostbuster movies. Um, I honestly get sick of Ghostbusters as a thing, to be honest. I remember liking the first movie and I remember liking the second movie. I liked the first movie the most. The second movie I thought was a downgrade. I thought the reboot from 2016 was fun, but not in the same way as the other two. So this franchise is one that I've kind of been sick of, and I've honestly been kind of annoyed that they keep trying to reboot it or make a sequel to it because I feel like Ghostbusters, the first one, was like not a perfect movie, but a movie that really works and was kind of a lightning in a bottle kind of movie. And it was really an interesting mix of a horror comedy because it had all these comedic actors of the time, like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, and all of these actors in that first movie I thought were really good. And I thought the movie was good. It had atmosphere. It was fun from what I remember. But again, I haven't seen it for a long time, but I remember those specifics about it. The second one, I thought, from what I remember, which is not much, it was that it's really goofy. And again, the 2016 remake, which for me is easily not one of the worst movies ever made, like most of the bitchy, stupid people were saying about before the movie even came out for the 2016 reboot, which was universally like appalled by so many people before it even came out. And honestly, I think people are stupid for that because I thought that that movie was just, at worst, it wasn't that funny or that great, but I thought it was totally serviceable. The reboot. I actually thought it had some funny moments in it. I thought the reboot had a lot of problems with um, being too quippy and being too ad libbed, where like the scenes just go on and on. Um, and it didn't have the style of the first two Ghostbuster movies. The reboot didn't. So those are my negatives with the reboot. But I did like the actresses in that. I liked some of the humor, but it felt like it went on too long with the humor. But I thought it was fun and stylish, but not the same as the original, which is a good thing. But this franchise is a franchise that I don't love that they keep trying to reboot this. But honestly, watching this one, for the most part, Ghostbusters Afterlife, I thought was a fun time. This one, it's so weird because they've been talking about a Ghostbusters 3 for a long, long time. Um, and then one of the actors died, and one of the four Ghostbusters died, and in real life. And I'm blanking on his name. Harold Ramis, actually. It's Harold Ramis. I think he's the one who passed away. I had to look this up. He passed away in 2014, so he didn't even get to be in the Ghostbusters reboot because all the other actors were in that, besides Harold Ramis, of course, because that came out in 2016. But Harold Ramis passed away, and they were gonna do a third one, but then they thought, let's not do it without Harold. And then they eventually made this because again, they're trying to keep a franchise alive, which is just one that I'm genuinely surprised is a franchise, Ghostbusters. But but yeah, looking at this film, I like the fact there's things I like a lot about this movie. I like that this movie, for the most part, really felt self-contained and had new characters that I liked and enjoyed. I liked the kids. I liked the mom. She was really funny. I liked Paul Rudd's character. I thought he was really funny. I liked how it was a fun, quirky little town where like just fun shenanigans happen. I thought it was a funny time. And I thought the action was serviceable. I thought that the effects were good. Um, but the problem I have with this movie is, without spoiling it, this is a Ghostbusters sequel. And it's one of those prime examples of fan service done really weak, where it kind of ruins the not ruins the movie, but it kind of messes the movie up for me. Like, I really liked how the movie built up with these new characters, but then the very last like 15 minutes, without spoiling it, it becomes pure fan service, and it's kind of like these characters are forgotten. They're like, whatever, forget these other characters that are in this movie, and focus on something else. Like, it was very weird. It felt like two different movies towards the end. I was like, really? Like, that's where we're going? Because you really built up these other characters and they're not really important anymore that much. Um, so that kind of bugged me because I was like, I did like these characters, but then by the end they just felt kind of pointless because it's just like they made something else happen in the movie at the end. So it's like it's weird with that. It's hard to not spoil it, and it's kind of obvious, even though I'm not spoiling what happens. You're kind of guessing what's going to happen, but if you've seen the trailer for this movie, but this is just a prime example of for me where I was digging the movie not being that much connected to the franchise, in which it had little tidbits, like of the franchise throughout. Like, it had little references, but it felt like the movie was trying to be its own thing in the Ghostbusters universe. But then at the end of the movie, it's like, no, we're just gonna be fan service. And I just kind of got annoyed at that. And I didn't dislike the ending, but I thought that it kind of just changed completely what was happening in the movie before that. Like with the kids, with Paul Rudd, with the mom, all these characters that were really funny, and then they kind of take a back seat, and it's weird. Like, I don't like how they did that. Like, it really felt like two different movies. And again, it's so hard to say this without spoiling it, but I still liked the movie. I thought it was still serviceable. I thought there were some funny moments in the movie. I liked the fact that the little Stay Puft marshmallows are in little marshmallow bags, like they're actual marshmallow sized, and it's hilarious seeing all of them um, like destroy and kill each other, like these little marshmallows, where like one goes into a blender, or one sits on top of chocolate, where another one uses a flamethrower to or a little flame to like melt the chocolate over the marshmallow, and you see two marshmallows going into the fire on a grill and just like dancing around while burning up. Like, it had some pretty fun comedic moments like that. Um, at first, it kind of worried me whenever the movie started. The characters at first, with the first couple of lines, the first couple of jokes, I was like, oh no, is this going to be like Ghostbusters 2016 where the jokes like go on forever? And that's one of the problems I had with 2016 Ghostbusters, is that there were some funny moments, but it just went on for too long. And I was afraid that this movie was going to do that, because it's not really the detriment of that movie, the reboot. It's just that these kind of movies, comedy movies, do that where they ad lib. And this one felt like at first it was trying to be that kind of humor where it wasn't that funny. But then as it went along, the characters really grew on me, these new characters. Um, I thought it was funny. I like that they also show a couple of horror movies in this movie that I didn't expect. They like have a summer school thing where like one of the kids is in summer school with Paul Rudd, who's the teacher, and he puts on scary movies, and he put on Cujo, and then he put on Child's Play, which is really funny to see both of those in the movie. I just like little references like that to other movies. I thought that was hilarious that they were watching them on VHS too, which is really pandering because, of course, this is a movie sequel to a movie from the 80s, movies from the 80s. So, of course, they're going to be pandering and say, here's VHS, even though it's 2021. Our school is not upgraded past VHS. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, I understand VHS is nostalgic and I think it's cool, but like, it just was there to be another 80s reference. 80s movies, Child's Play and Cujo, those are both from the 80s. Cujo was 83 and Child's Play was 88. But yeah, like I said, it's weird whenever they do that, even though I like seeing that in the movie, but it was just another reference to the 80s. And speaking of the king of 80s reboot nostalgia stuff, Finn Wolfhard is in this, who does a good job, and I liked him in this. I haven't seen him in much besides this. I saw him in the movie The Turning, which was really bad. It was like, I forgot what year that was, a couple years ago, before COVID, I think. But it was a really bad horror movie, and like he was bad in it. But everybody was bad in it. But I liked him in this, and I liked him in Stranger Things. But again, he's playing in another movie or a show, like he's in another sense of media that's like based on 80s nostalgia. So it's just weird that he's kind of the king of that right now. Um, but I did like the movie overall. I just feel like the movie towards the end just really felt way too fan servicey for me. Um, it's weird. It's like, I don't want to spoil the movie, but it's like if you're watching The Force Awakens, Star Wars The Force Awakens, and instead of Rey getting the lightsaber at the end of Force Awakens, like suddenly Luke Skywalker appears. Like, it would be like that, where it's like it's fan servicey, and it feels like that in this movie. Like, this movie felt very fan servicey at the end, where it was kind of too pandering, like, and it wasn't that funny. Like, it was kind of a shame, like, what they did at the end. And again, I'm not going to spoil it. And again, it's pretty obvious. Like, you're going to really just really pretty good guess on what the ending is going to be. Because again, if you've seen the trailer, you kind of already know what's going to happen in this movie, of course, because it's a Ghostbusters movie. But it felt very fan servicey at the end, where it was kind of annoying. Not terrible at the end, but the ending was definitely the weakest part of it. I liked the buildup of the characters, the first two acts, more than the ending, but the ending was still fine. The villain, whatever its name was, I forgot, his or her name. The villain was really weird looking, but I know that it was like that in the first two Ghostbusters movies. I think it's Zool. Is that what its name is? Um, but villain looked weird. Like I said, overall, the movie I did like. I actually liked it more than disliked it, particularly just for the first two acts. The third act is whatever. Um, Fan servicey out the ass, but that's fine. Like, I didn't hate the movie. I just thought it was whatever at the end, but I thought it was still a solid reboot. If I ranked these movies, from what I remember, the first one is obviously the best. Then I'd probably say the I don't know if it's the second one or the reboot I would pick, because the reboot, while having an more annoying, like, jokes that go on forever, like, is at least more, like, I feel like more well made than the second one. From what I remember, the second one I remember being really stupid, and even more stupider than the 2016 reboot. So I'd say the original is the best one, probably, and then probably the reboot from 2016, and then oh, no, it'd be this one next. This would be second. It would be the first movie, then this one, then the 2016 reboot, then the second one would be last. Which feels like it's pretty accurate to some people's lists. I feel like people are going to enjoy this movie. I feel like people are going to have a good time with it. Um, this one was pretty competently made. Like I said, it's not terrible. It's pretty good. It's not the best movie ever, and it's in a franchise that I don't know why it keeps going, but I liked things about it. I thought it was enjoyable. So that's pretty much all I could say about Ghostbusters Afterlife. Tell me down below what you guys thought of the movie, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.